pretty bad. This hasn't even been opened in 4.5 years. Clearly. I really do believe in the AMSOIL product. This AMSOIL has really been outstanding, and I just can't say enough good about it. On this one, because this oil is so old, I'm going to put in a bottle of engine flush from AMSOIL. The idea is if there's any sludge in the engine, this will help to emulsify it, dissolve it, and try to flush it out. I've never used it before. You pour it in, let it idle for 10 to 15 minutes, and then you immediately drain the oil. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Use it. It says it's for transmissions too. Personally, I want to do it. I've done transmission fluid changes myself, and you don't really get everything out when you do it yourself as a DIY. You really need to flush it out entirely. So I wouldn't use this as a transmission flush. I would use it only as an engine flush. Pretty bad when I have to use some channel locks to get that cap off because it's been that long. This is meant to be just hand removed. Though I have had some troubles with this in the past, but not quite at this point. So another reason why you want to change your oil regularly. Everything starts to get a little seized up. Again, see, no waxy buildup. That's what I love about that AMSOIL. That one major brand that's known for synthetics. Every time I used it, this would be just a complete tan mush, like pudding. And never had it with the AMSOIL engine flush. Okay, let's fire it up. While we let this idle, that 3.7 liter engine, it's a V6 based off of a V8 where they lop off the 2 cylinders and turn it into V6. They say they're a really robust, dependable engine, about 130,000 miles on it. So we'll let this idle for about 10-15 minutes and we'll drain that out. Coming up on our 15 minutes of letting it idle. You don't want to let the engine do any hard work because it is thinning out the oil. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll stop it here. Let's get that oil drain. Normally I would wait till the engine's warm, not necessarily hot. And right now it's hot because that engine flush set to drain it immediately after you turn it on. I want to avoid this hot catalytic converter. Always open up the vent on your drain pan so you don't get a lot of burping. Yeah, it's hot. Don't recommend that. You can see it really thinned out that oil putting in that flush, the engine flush, but it also was probably fairly thin from all the water buildup over the last 4.5 years. I've changed oil on a fair number of different vehicles. This Liberty, it's very easy to drain the oil, fill the oil, but it's the oil filter that's a real pain. I am not going to change it till this vehicle is almost dead cold. You have to literally stick your arm like a contortionist from underneath, almost up near the radiator, through the steering system. I use a bunch of extensions just to break it free. And it makes a mess. They did put a little diverter for the oil that spills out of the oil filter, which is good. But you still have to stick your arm up in there and try to pull it out by hand, getting some leverage on the oil filter to be able to pull it off. But the location of it is just horrible. It's one of the worst. That is a pain. That is one of the most inconvenient oil filters of a vehicle I've ever changed. I curse the engineers every time I do that. You can't tell me they couldn't have figured out some way to have relocated that. Jeep engineers in this Liberty did a lot of good things. That's not one of them. Then we gotta do it all over again just to put the fresh one on, and it's no easier. A little fresh oil on the seal here. Of course, you want to be very careful not to cross thread anything. Doing this all blindly, trying to feel for that boss in the threaded center. I like to get that wrench on it just to get a little purchase to make sure it does actually seat well. I have a wobble extension just to allow me to get a little off center. I just want to give it just a little snug up. I just kind of go until I feel like it's snugged without really using the handle. There we go. I think that's good. After we put the oil in, we'll fire it up and check for leaks. I always like to make sure I clean off any funnels that I use. Clean down inside there just a little bit. Now this is going to be 1 quart of the XL 5W30 because I don't have 5 quarts of the signatures. So this is good for up to 12,000 miles 1 year. All right, mentally in my head I always think, do I have the plug in? Yes, I do. Do I have the filter in? Yes, I do. So you don't start pouring it and have it come out the bottom. So this is the good stuff here. This is the Signature Series. And if you put 5 quarts of that in, I would have been able to go 25,000 miles or 1 year. So, can't go wrong. And the final quart here, so make 5 quarts.